Hello and welcome. It's puzzle time once again with Sudoku Sleuth. And once again, we have yet another Oppenheimer puzzle again for you. Now, I was somewhat a little bit hesitant about playing another Oppenheimer themed puzzle as I did one not too long ago. And what I'll do is I'll link to it in the description below. And actually, if I remember as well, I'll add a card to it somewhere on the screen here. But what attracted me to this particular puzzle more than anything is the fact that it is an index-based puzzle. And I'll explain what that means once we look onto the rules. But before we look at today's puzzle and today's rule set, I'm hoping that the audio quality is much better today than it was yesterday. Our journey continues across Europe. So today we are in Turin, in northwest Italy. But really, that's still not our final destination. We are going to continue in the next couple of days. But it will allow me to essentially record a couple of puzzles here whilst we're still enjoying the city and having a look around. Right, enough of that. Let's take a look at the rules for today's puzzle. So we have 1945 Oppenheimer by blackjackfitz. And the rules are, normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 through to 9 in every row, every column, and indeed every box as well. We have digits separated by a V-sum to 5. So those of you that have seen the channel, you'll see that we've done quite a few of these already on the channel. You can see that we've got 2 V dominoes or pairs in this puzzle. We also have separated by an X sum to 10, and again we've got 2 of them here and here. Now we have an additional rule on the traditional XV puzzle, which is an XV, and we have 2 of them again, sum up to 15. I guess just Roman numerals 10 and 5 summing together to create 15. Now we also have digits in cages summed to the clue in the top left corner of the cage and cannot repeat. So you can see we've got actually quite a few cages in here that sum up to 45, and I'm sure many of you will get the significance of that, but we'll get onto that in a moment. And we've got 6 such cages dotted throughout the grid. I say dotted, clearly very deliberately placed throughout the grid. Digits along a thermometer increase from the bulb end. We've got 1 thermometer here, and it will increase just like a thermometer does from whatever this value is. Let's say that's a 2. The next one has to be 3 or higher. Let's say it's 4, and this would have to be 4 or higher. Let's see what else. Oh, we've got more rules. We've got a few diagonals here. So clues outside the grid give the sum of the clues along the indicated diagonal. So you can see we've got 19 here, and there's 3 cells that make up that 19. Same here as well. And then we have 3 different 45s diagonals, which I'm not going to try and draw, because you can see I'm already selecting cells that are outside it, but we've got 9 cells here making that 45 diagonal, and more down there, and another one here as well. Now, here is what is, I think, the first time we are featuring on the channel, which is columns 1 and 9 index the digits 1 and 9 respectively. I.e., digits in column 1 indicate where the 1 belongs in that row, and the same in column 9 for the number 9. And it gives you an example here. So if 4 is in column 1, row 6, so column 1, row 6, that's a 4. It means in essence that column 4 in that row is where the 1 is. And the same would apply for the number 9, of course. So if you have, no, that's the end of the example. It does say respectively, so I'm just going to put a 4 in here. So that just means that the 9 belongs in here, as in column 4 in that row. And that's all the rules we have today. I say all the rules. There's plenty of rules. We've got, XVs and XV again. So that's 1, diagonals 2, cages 3, thermometer 4, and now this additional index 1, 5. Plus, of course, normal Sudoku rule 6. So there is certainly no shortage of rules, which is thankful because frequent viewers of this channel will know that we are frequently solving Sudoku variant puzzles on here. And that means that it allows us to fill in a grid that is completely empty of any cells and any digits. Something that you couldn't do with a normal Sudoku because all these additional constraints, 5 new rules, should be able to put such a constraint on the puzzle that would be able to solve it. With that said, let's restart the clock. Before I do that, link is in the description down below as usual if you want to play along. I hope you do, and I hope you do place a few comments as always. I immensely enjoy reading them. And with that said, let's restart the clock and see how we got on. So I'm going to actually start with indexing immediately, and I'll explain why. Now these cells cannot be, so a V cell can only be a pair of 1, 4 or 2, 3, because there is no other way that we can actually create 2 cells that sum up to 5. So these are the options. Now deliberately I'm going to place 2, 3 in here. I'm going to tell you that's not possible. Now the trick about indexing Sudokus is these 3 cells that are in the same box have to be from different groups. So what this 2, let's say this is the 2 and that's the 3. What this is saying is there is a 1 here and there is another 1 in here, of course breaking Sudoku rules. So what you will often see with index puzzles is you need to have 3 different digits, 1 from 1, 2 and 3, 1 from 4, 5 and 6, and 1 from 7, 8 and 9. Because whatever is indexing has to be placed in different boxes, otherwise you're going to end up repeating the digit in the same box. So we immediately get 1 and 4 are in here, which also means that the digit 1 is in here, and I'm going to say the digit 9 is in here as well as in there. I'm pretty sure I'm interpreting that correctly. Yeah, 1 points to here and 4 points to there. Now as soon as I did the 1, 4, I'm now looking at the XV and I'm wondering if there is some sort of symmetry at play. And I think the answer to that again is yes. So if I put 7, 8 in here, what that means is, again, let's just assume that's the 7, that's the 8, is that there is a 9 in this column and a 9 in this column, repeating the 9 in the same box. And the reason I picked 7, 8, of course, again, is very deliberate. To get to 15, there's only 2 ways you can do it. It's either 6, 9 or 7, 8, which we've just demonstrated doesn't work. And in fact, I think we're about to get a digit now. So this is a 6, 9. This 9 cannot be possible. It is this 9. That's a 6. That's therefore the 1, the 4, therefore that's the 9. What's odd is those XVs immediately gave me digits. Of course, yeah, this XV also gave me digits because that's telling me where the index of the 1 is. So that's telling me the 1 is in here and the 1 is in there. And now we've got 6 digits placed in the grid at minute 3. Please excuse me whilst I just take a moment to think through what's next. I'm still just a little bit surprised that, I fully resolved the 9s that I had pencil marked earlier. Did I? So there's a 9 in here and then there's, no, I didn't, pardon me. It's just I had pencil marked them in this box rather than up here. So yeah, the fact I haven't resolved these ones is not necessarily a problem yet. I'm just taking a look at the 10s. Well, in fact, ignore that for a second. So we know the 9 is in here. Just normal Sudoku, we've got a 9 in there, a 9 in there. Therefore, the 9 is in this row, in this box, but we've got a 6-9 pair here, so it's not in this cell. So there is a 9 in here, which also means that this cell is a 7 or 8 because it's indexing where the 9 is. And I just spotted yet another thing actually, the killer cages. So I did say I'll come back to why 45 is significant. Now, obviously every box, based on normal Sudoku rules, has the digits 1 through to 9 in there. So you'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in there. Now, if you sum them all up, they'll add up to 45. So essentially, 9 unique digits adds up to 45. Now, you'll see that these killer cages are also 9 digits that add up to 45. Now, think about normal Sudoku rules for a second. These 3 digits need to belong in this box. I just said all the digits 1 through to 9 need to be in each of these killer cages. However, these 3 cells cannot repeat in the same box, and therefore these 3 cells are exactly the same in here. Obviously, normal Sudoku rules apply, so it's not going to be that, if this is 5, well, that's a bad example because you can't put a 5 in here. Let's say 6. Clearly, that's not the 6. One of these is the 6. But look at here. This 4 belongs somewhere in these 3 cells. It's not there. It's not here because it would break the Sudoku rules. That's a 4. And we've got the 7, 8, and I'm going to look on the other side of the puzzle because clearly there's rotational symmetry going on. And I'm assuming that there is a 7, no, it's not a 7, 8, it's a 2, 3. So take a look at these ones, which means we need to place a 1 in here. Again, not there because of the 1, 4, and therefore we have to put a 2, 3 pencil mark in here to represent this. Now this 6 is essentially the equivalent of the 4 on the other side, has to go in here. And it suddenly started to get very crowded, isn't it? I know there's not a lot of, it's just I'm looking at columns 1 and 9 in particular. I'm looking at column 5 now, and the reason I'm looking at column 5 is because it will dictate to me where the 1s and 9s go. So remember the indexing, if I put a 5, it will place a 1 in here, or if I put a 5 in there, it will place a 9 in here. Now where can 1s go in column 5? It's not in there. It's not in this box because we've already placed the 1. And it can only be in here. And in fact, it can only be in this cell because it has to be indexed with a 5. And if I place a 5 on the X, it will have to be joined with another 5, breaking normal Sudoku rules. And I'm guessing the same is true with the 9s. So 9 is not in here because of these pencil marks. It's not in here because of this 9. It is in one of these 3 cells. And again, it can't be in either of these because I need an index of 5. And it cannot repeat on an X domino. So that's the 5 placed. Now we know that the 10 is made up of a 2, 3 joined with a 7, 8. So it can either be a 2, 8 or a 3, 7. Notice we've got a 7, 8 in here to join the other 7, 8 that's in there. We have a 2, 3 in here, and that requires a 2, 3 up there. Need 2, 3, 7, 8. We've got 1, 2, 3 placed. The second is in here. That's a 7, 8. Meaning there is a 1, which I think could have found a different way. Clearly, where does the 1 go? With these 2 pencil marks, it's always going to be in this row. It's not in this cell because of this 1. So it's in here, and I'm guessing the 9 as a result of this is up there as well. So we have a 2, 3, 7, 8. Do we know what it is yet? Well, we know, no, think for a second. I was just about to say we know that the 2, 3 is up here, but it's not correct. That's indexing 9 is on this side. We're trying to index the 1. Now this one tells us that the 1 is not down here. The 1 is somewhere in here, indexed by a 2, 3, and a 7, 8 somewhere in there. It'll be very helpful to figure out which is it, a 7, 8 or a 2, 3. So this is, I'm just using the logic I used earlier. This 7, 8 has to repeat in here. This 2, 3 has to repeat in there. And therefore, if you look at the composition of box 5, if this is a 2, that's the 3. That's the 3, that's the 2. We have a 5 that isn't anywhere else, and a 7, 8 that goes up here. 7, 8 pair, very helpful. I say very helpful, I'm not actually spotting how it's helping me yet. We just know that there's no other 7, 8 in there, but that's not very useful just yet. Well, we know what these are. That's from 1, 4, 7, 8. And we know 4 is definitely in here because of this 1, 4 pair. 2, 3, 7, 8. It's just too many pencil marks, too many pencil marks. Is it time to use the diagonals? Yes, it is. Take a look at this 19 down here. And we've got a 5 already placed, meaning there's a remainder of 14. There's no way I'm going to be able to use a 1 because that would require a 13 up here. So that's not 1, that's 1. There's only 2 ways of making 14 in 2 cells. It's either 5, 9, not 5, 9 because the 5 is gone in the box. It's 6, 8. Pardon me, pencil marks. It is 6, 8. This one tells us there is no 1 in here. That's enough for now. This 6, 8 is magical. It's doing a lot of work because it's telling us that this is a 3, 7. Remember, this was either a 2, 8 or a 3, 7 to add up to 10, and it's not 8s. So this 3, 7 tells us this is the 8, and this is the 2. This 8 tells us this is the 9. It is doing a lot of work for us, and that's the 7. Sadly, I don't have a 19 on the other side to prove that it's also. I believe rotational symmetry would say that this is a 3, 7 as well. I think I can prove it in a different way here. This is 3, 7, 5, not 5. Again, we have to repeat these 3 cells in this killer cage. Now take a look, this 7, 5, the 7, 5 is up here. So that's 7 and 5, that's not 5. Now that I've placed it in this killer cage, I have to place it in here. So that's also 3, 7. That's an 8, that's a 2. That tells me this is the 1. It could have done it in a much easier, simpler way than what I just did. That 2 tells me the 1 is in here, and that's all good. Where does the 9 go? It's clearly not, this is clearly not a 7 because it's indexing the 9. It's saying this is a 9, which would require us to repeat a 5 in here. We've already said that's not possible. So that's 3, that's 7, that's 9, and that's 9. Therefore, that's the 9. That's not 9, and that 2 could have also told me about the 9. I really am going about this the hard way, aren't I? The 3, 7 tells me there's a 1 in here and a 1 in there. It's not helpful yet. I mean, the diagonal did a lot of work for us here. It's just I'm struggling to see why we can't do as much with the 1s here. So these cells are 2, 4 to complete the box. That's not 4. More importantly, that's the 1. That's the 4. Therefore, that's the 1. That's not 1. That's a 7, 8. That's a not 8. That's not an 8 either. That's a 6, 8. 2 8s are looking on in here. And it's not in those, so that's an 8. Again, I could have done this easily. Remember, I have to repeat these 3 cells in these killer cages. That's a 2. These are from 3, 5, and 7. I'm just going to remove that and try that again. That's a 5. It's gone from here. 3, 5, 7. We're making a lot of work. Sorry, we're making a lot of progress on kind of the bottom right-hand side of the grid. I'm just surprised we're not getting the same progress up here. So this is a 2, 6, and we know the order of this. That's a 6, that's a 2, that's a 5 or 7. Both seem valid to me for now. We need a 3, 5 joined with a 2. Both seem available. 2, 4 joined with a 3, 7 and a 6, and both seem available. So I'm going to leave it for now. Right, this is 2, 6, 9. Again, looking at this column, this we know is an 8. Therefore, this is a 3 to complete it, and it is, as you can see so far, very much rotationally symmetrical. This is not a 2, not a 9 either. That's a 6. And to complete the box, we need 4 and 8, both of which are available. I'm thinking I'm going to start looking at other diagonals in a second. So again, that's not going to be a 1. Maybe I should have done this earlier when I spotted that the 1 was here. If that's a 1, it requires a double 9 to get to the remainder of the 19, which is 18. So it requires 2 9s, clearly not possible. That's not the 1, that's the 1. Therefore, that's the 7, the 3, the 1, and let's see if we can make a bit more easy work of this. So 2, no, we can't for some reason. I must have placed all the 1s by now. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yep. So the 9s is what's still outstanding. Essentially these 9s, which for now appear both equally valid. For now. So we need 3, 4, 5. Wow, all of which are valid. Right, sorry, I did say, let's take a look at this 19 and then swiftly move on. So, according to the pencil marks, right, this is not 3. So this is from 4, 5, 7, 8. This is 6, 9. We need to figure out what the remainder is here. So let's work through this. I'm wondering if a 9 is even possible. So 9 and 8, no, because that's 17 and would require a 2, that would be repeated. 9 and 7, sadly, is possible with a 3. 9 and 5 is a 14 requiring another 5. Yep, I've had the same issue earlier. 9 and 4 would require a 6, presumably. 9 and 4 is 13 and a 6 to get to 19, so that's possible. No, 6 is cannot be repeated because we already placed it in this pair. So 6 and 8 gets us to 14, requiring a 5, which is possible. 6 and 7 is a 13, requiring around a 6, that doesn't work. 6 and 5 is an 11, requiring an 8, doesn't work. 6 and 4 won't work either, that gets us to 10 and requires another 9, which is taken up by this pair. So this is a 3, 5 pair. This is not a 7. 3, 5 pair. 2, 6, 9. It's still just not enough. when I start looking at the 45s, I may have to. Just feels premature. There's so much that isn't marked yet, is there? Well, this 45 is nearly done, so that's probably the next breakthrough. Let's have a think. So 19, 27, 36, clearly not a 9. Otherwise, it would require this cell to be a 0, and it's not possible. So that's 6, 9, therefore that's a 3, not 3. And with that being 6, there was actually only one possible answer, wasn't it? I think, because 6 and 3 gets us to 9, which is not enough. So that's 6 and 5, that's 11. We need an 8, 4, 3, 7. Come on, that should be the home stretch now. This 9 is finally telling us this is a 2, this is a 9. This is an 8 to complete the box. We need to place 4 and 6 in here. No, we don't know what they are. We need to finish this up with a 2, 8. Also no, we don't know what they are. We need to finish this row with a 7. We need to place a 4 and 3 to complete this. We know the order for a change. That's a 5, that's a 2, that's a 4. Okay, sorry, I was just double checking I haven't missed anything down there. So to complete the box, let's start here. We need a 7, we still need a 6, which can only be in here, and we still need a 2. Complete the row. We need a 5. These are not 5s. 5 looks up and down, which is nothing. We need a 7, 8 pair, both of which are possible. Still, I'm thinking the last diagonal is probably what will be. These remaining diagonals is what's going to help us here. We need 3, 5 with a 2 by the looks of things. Both, well, we know that the 5, so that's 2, 3, that's 2, 3, 5. We need a 3, 7 with a 6, and both are possible. That's just right, diagonals it is. So we have completed almost everything in this diagonal. So 11, 21, 26, 26, 34. We still need to get to 11. It's not 7, it can only be 6 and 5. Let's go with it. 5, 7, 5, 3, 7, 3, 2. That's probably enough now. 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 7, 2, and 8. And that's the solution for today's puzzle. I immensely enjoyed that blackjack fits. So, I think if you've not come across index puzzles before, this can be a little bit trickier than what it may seem here. But I think that's the trick, is just play a few of them, and this is probably one of the better introductory ones compared to others. You can, if you follow that logic around the indexes, it can be enormously powerful. And just always remember, you need one in every box. And that's a really good way of basically trying to get started with index puzzles. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. Hope the audio quality today was superior to yesterday. And with that said, hope to see you back soon for the next video. Bye for now.